This is devastating news for Fife, and although the Mossmorran Plant is not in my constituency, I know that I will have constituents affected. I do note what was said in the Minister's statement in terms of a lack of action or will on behalf of the Government, but I would suggest that that statement is pretty silent on the economic circumstances which was made in the public statement, and certainly in terms of what I saw when this was immediately announced, there was an attribution to the UK Government's failures in this regard. But the other thing I have to say is I'm a bit disappointed that the first mention in the statement of the Scottish Government was at the very end of the statement and looking forward. The Scottish Government does have a responsibility for economy and jobs, and I would suggest that taking an approach that does not involve the Scottish Government allows the SNP Government to blame the UK Government when such things happen. So although we've not had a surprise, it's not been a surprise to the Government today's announcement, can the Minister outline what conversations were being had with the Scottish Government in advance of today's announcement?
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Yes, and I thank her for her question. And she points out that this isn't in her constituency, but clearly the effects run far wider than the individual constituency, particularly for a plant of this size. And so we need to think, I think, carefully about the impact of the supply chain on this as well. I apologise for the fact that the Scottish Government is mentioned towards the end of the speech. That is in no way intended to imply that the Scottish Government have not been involved in this or are not involved in this. I know that there have been meetings at the highest level in the Scottish Government, and in fact the Scotland Secretary has also been involved in these discussions with ExxonMobil as well, as we have tried to find any possible measure in order to avoid this decision. But ultimately it was a decision for the business, and our focus now is on how we can move forward for the workforce and for the future of Fife as well. As I said, the industrial story of Fife is not over. There is excellent opportunity there to bring new investment to that site in the future, and that sort of industrial regeneration is exactly what I want to see.